Hello everyone, this is Rick Passek, FlyFish Fanatic. Welcome to my tying bench. Today I will be tying a North American style Chironomid, bead-headed Chironomid, cone head, snow cone, whatever you guys want to call them. This is a chromie style. I've got a couple of different versions of it. I'll show you one and then I'll show you the other ones. I'll tie one and then I'll show you a couple others. So let's switch over. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a goofy mood. Alrighty, so to start, we've got a Hends BL 550 clink hammer hook. The other one I like using is the 554. Either way, I've got a 1/8 bead on there, white. Now, one little hint: I bought a bunch off of AliExpress. These are junk. I don't really like them. The paint comes off really easy, so. There's certain things I don't mind buying off of places like that, but beads, buy from a good quality manufacturer. Hooks, buy from a good quality manufacturer. So in this case, it won't matter what color thread I'm going to use because I'm going to be using actual silver tinsel. But I really like this one in this mirror holographic. So I'll show you them later. And if you use a black thread, as an underbody, it gives you more of a green hue to it. If you use a white thread, it gives you more of almost of a goldy copper kind of hue to it. So it depends on what kind of finish you want. But in this case, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go with black because I've got lots of it. So I'm just going to get a nice thin layer down all the way back to about where I want. I'm going to end up, I want a red bud on this. So I'm going to come all the way down around this corner to about there. Then I'm going to flatten out my thread by counterclockwise spinning it. And then I'm going to come right back in touching wraps about halfway. And then I'm going to counterclockwise spin it. Get that nice and flat. Come all the way forward, roughly to there. And then I'm going to take some of this Uniflex in red. It's a really nice stretch to it. Doesn't pull apart, which is what I really like. It doesn't pull apart easily. I mean, it does, but it's one of those products that just it works well. It doesn't fray. So now once I got it tight on there, I really stretch it. Really give it a really good stretch. Doesn't matter if I cover it all the way or not. Come all the way around that corner to where I want my butt to start. Then I'm going to come back again. Counterclockwise spin. Get that thread flattened. Again, it doesn't matter if you cover the whole thing or not because you're not going to see any of the underbody. So, now, this is silver on one side. It's Unimylar. Silver on one side and gold on the other. I want the gold facing up because then when I go turn it over, it'll be silver when I start wrapping. Right? So just catch that in. Come back not quite to where the bud is, about there. Okay, and then again, come forward. Now, as I come over, you see the silver shows out, right? So now I'm going to do slightly overlapping, touching slightly overlapping wraps. Okay. Now this is a fairly large, size 12. Usually I tie these in a 16 and a 14, but just for video sakes, it's always easier to show you guys on a slightly larger hook. Okay, so I'm going to have a bit of a thorax here, so I'm going to just stop it there. It won't matter. Make sure that's tied down. Then I usually like putting in a whip finish here just because I know myself. I personally have a tendency of bumping this as I go forward. So now I'm going to just give myself a little bit of a red butt. Okay, and then I'm going to really stretch it, and I'm going to start coming forward. And then as I come forward, I'm going to slowly let go of the tension on this, because I do want to build up just a little bit of a rib, like of a thicker rib, right? So what I've also done with this pattern that works really well is I'll do a second wrap right beside that red with a black wire. It'll just help with defining that rib better, right? But in this case, I'm not. I did see that I got a little bit of a fluffy fray at the back there. I think I must have touched the tip of the hook. Yeah, there we go. So now, take some peacock dubbing, and I'll switch it up sometimes, but in this one here, I'm going to put a little bit of the red here, and a little tiny bit of the green, just to mix it up a bit with the color. So I'm just mixing it in my fingers, and then I'm just going to take just the smallest little tiny pinch. I don't want a lot here. And you don't want it too over tight either. You want this to kind of splay out a bit. You want these as your legs, right? And I'm just going to do a little whip finish. Now, if I was doing this for myself, I would have tied up to that point, whip finished it, coated it, set it off, do another. Like I'd do a whole bunch of them, and then I'd bring them in and coat them all, and then I would put the dubbing on. But so now all I have left to do is put a coating on it. I will put one on for you guys just so you guys can see it, but I would not have put the abdomen on first. Thorax, Jesus. Right, I wouldn't have put those legs on first. I would have done that after. So I'm just going to take a little bit of Thin Min. This is Gulf Thin Min. And just come up to those legs. If you get one or two trapped, well, so be it. Like I said, I usually do it in a separately, right? So zappity zap zap. And then after this, I'll come back with a layer of Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails, or I think it's called Magic. I'll show you the other one I like using. I did a coatings review way back, what, a year and a half ago. If you guys want to go take a look at that video, I'll put it in the description if I remember. Yeah, so this one here I really like using as well. Instead of the Sally Hansen's, is this Witchcraft Rock Solid. Find that it's a little thicker. It's a little thicker of a material. It does take a tiny bit longer to dry, but I find that it really gets into those little cracks and crevices and stuff, and it dries really well. Like it says, rock solid, rock hard. It does, right? So it really works really well, and it does. And I find it doesn't discolor. So when I did that review on all the different coatings, I left the stuff sit for weeks, and I put it in water and all kinds of stuff, and did a review on whether it discolored or not. So, but yeah, so that's one. And like I said, you can do one with a black rib right beside that red, and that would that'll just give it that additional segmentation. Now here's the two differences. It might not be easiest to see on the camera, we'll see, but there's one with the, so this one is using the mirror tinsel. I really love this mirror tinsel, always have. But you see how this one's got, depending on how you turn the light, it's kind of silvery. And this one's a bit more tanny kind of colored. So this one up top is with the white underbody thread, and the one on the bottom is with the black underbody thread. So you can just see just a slight difference. It's got a bit more green to it. As soon as you put black for some reason underneath this mirror tinsel, it shows up as green. And then this, like I said, is white, so it's got more of that chromy look. This has got more of a green chromy look. So, alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, fairly simple fly to tie. Just another little Chironomid pattern. Make sure that when you guys are using that one, typical of any Chironomid, super slow. You want to just little figure eights, let it sit. Little figure eights, maybe give it a little pop, right? And then leave it sit. If you're in a place where you can use multiple flies, I really like this on a put a fab at the point. I'll do a washing line technique. I put a fab at the point to keep it floating high. And I'll put one of these in the middle, and then a wet fly similar to, say, the little peacock and black, little wet like that, closest to the fly rod. So I'll do a wet fly, a Chironomid, and then a fab, or do a Chironomid, a wet fly, and a fab. I really like that fab, that washing line technique to hold that whole thing up. So it's just that 3-4 feet under the surface. That's it, right? That's how I fish these. Now I will fish these under an indicator as well. Go down to my depth, especially the one I tied. This one here that I tied on, the one I actually tied for you guys. I'll put that one lower down in the water column just because of that. It's got more silver and red in it, which is indicative to Chironomids that are deeper within the water column. So yeah, but that's how I fish them as well. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you learned a little bit. And if you have any requests for any flies, I don't care what kind, wets, dries, large streamers, big intruders, small tiny little guys, let me know. Leave a message, leave a comment, and I'll make sure to give you a shout out when I do it. Talents.